8 hours of total darkness, and one mistake could cost an entire team their lives. Every night, the mission begins in darkness, where every decision, every second, and every crew member determine who makes it home alive. Long before the aircraft ever reaches the battlefield, the mission has already begun. The crew boards before sunset, checks every system, and prepares for a night where daylight simply doesn't exist. Once those wheels leave the runway, they know one thing for certain: they won't see the sun again until everything is over. The takeoff happens after dark, and if everything goes according to plan, the landing will too. Darkness isn't something this crew fears. It's their greatest advantage. While enemy fighters on the ground struggle to see anything beyond a few hundred meters, the aircraft uses advanced sensors to watch every movement below. The night hides the aircraft from most eyes, yet it reveals the battlefield to the people inside. That's exactly why these missions are planned around the hours when everyone else would rather stay grounded. Instead of flying high above the battlefield, the aircraft deliberately circles at roughly 3,000 feet. That sounds safe until you realize it's close enough for determined fighters on the ground to fire back. Every slow circle increases the risk, but it also keeps the weapons locked on target. The crew accepts that danger because somewhere below, friendly troops are waiting for help they cannot survive without. Most people imagine combat aircraft racing toward a target, dropping their weapons and heading home. Fighter jets are built exactly for that. They strike fast, burn enormous amounts of fuel, and usually leave the area within minutes. A gunship works in a completely different way. Instead of speed, it survives through patience, staying overhead for hours until the people on the ground no longer need its protection. And that's only the beginning. The aircraft can refuel while still flying, connecting with a tanker in complete darkness before returning straight to the mission. Because of that ability, 8 hours is considered routine rather than exceptional. Some operations have reportedly stretched well beyond 24 hours, with one widely mentioned mission lasting an incredible 36 hours as crew members rotated between working and resting while the aircraft itself never landed. Keeping an aircraft like this alive takes far more than just 2 people in the cockpit. The pilot controls the aircraft through the continuous banking turns that keep the guns aimed at the target, while the co-pilot constantly monitors instruments, navigation, and communication. Every movement has to be smooth because even a slight mistake could throw off the entire firing solution during a critical moment. Behind them, the flight engineer watches over 4 powerful engines, fuel systems, and countless mechanical components that simply cannot fail this far from home. Nearby, the navigator ensures the aircraft remains exactly where it needs to be, while the fire control officer calculates every engagement with extreme precision. The electronic warfare officer constantly searches for enemy radar or missile threats, making sure the crew isn't being hunted while they're protecting others. And then there are the specialists in the back, quietly carrying some of the hardest jobs on board. Sensor operators use infrared cameras powerful enough to distinguish tiny details on the ground, even in complete darkness. Loadmasters and gunners manually move heavy ammunition into position again and again throughout the night, working inside a freezing, noisy aircraft where every round loaded could become the one that saves lives only moments later. From the outside, the aircraft looks enormous. Inside, it feels surprisingly cramped. There are very few windows, leaving the crew surrounded by equipment, cables, glowing screens, and constant engine noise. Hours pass without seeing the outside world, making it easy to lose all sense of time. Day and night become meaningless once the mission settles into its long rhythm. The conditions don't make things any easier. The interior can become bitterly cold. Conversations are often drowned out by the roar of engines, and moving around requires squeezing past equipment and fellow crew members. There's no proper kitchen, barely enough room to stretch, and the restroom is about as basic as it gets. Yet, for 8 hours, or sometimes much longer, that aircraft becomes the only world the crew knows. You might expect hot meals during such long missions, but that's the last thing anyone finds on board. There simply isn't space or time for cooking. Instead, the crew relies on food that can survive hours in the aircraft without spoiling. Protein bars, prepared sandwiches, and quick snacks become the fuel that keeps everyone focused while the mission continues around them. One food appears in story after story from former crew members: muffins. Cheap, packed with calories, and easy to grab with one hand, they became the unofficial survival food of these missions. During quieter moments between target calls, someone grabs another muffin without ever taking full attention away from the radios or displays. The constant stress burns enormous energy, and sometimes those simple snacks provide thousands of calories over a single night. Here's something almost nobody expects. Most of an 8-hour mission isn't combat at all, it's waiting. The aircraft circles above mountains or empty desert, radios crackling softly, while everyone watches and listens for a call that may never come. Hours can disappear without a single shot being fired, and strangely enough, that's when the greatest mental challenge begins. Because boredom can be just as dangerous as bullets. The moment someone becomes too comfortable is often the exact moment everything changes. A single radio transmission reporting troops under fire instantly transforms the atmosphere. Seconds earlier, the crew was quietly monitoring systems. Now every station comes alive at once, each person slipping into a role they've practiced countless times. That sudden switch from calm to absolute focus is one of the hardest parts of the entire mission. Repeated nights of shared danger build deep trust among crew members who rely completely on one another. Quiet moments filled with jokes and camaraderie help the team stay mentally steady between missions, even confusing outside observers who don't understand how such humor coexists with intense pressure. These lighter moments ease tension and reinforce bonds before the next call arrives. Everything shifts instantly when troops in contact comes over the radio. The crew springs into action. Pilots begin their circling pylon turn, sensor operators locate the target, and the fire control officer coordinates with ground forces. Communication must be constant and precise, since friendly and enemy forces may be dangerously close together. Nothing is assumed. Every coordinate is verified repeatedly before firing, since a single error could cause friendly fire. Soldiers below trust the crew's judgment completely, so accuracy always takes priority over speed. Once cleared, the aircraft unleashes powerful weaponry: a 105mm howitzer, 40mm autocannon, or 25mm cannons, depending on the aircraft type, with loadmasters continuously reloading despite fatigue. For troops on the ground, the aircraft's presence brings reassurance, and its infrared sensors let the crew find enemies hidden in darkness, giving soldiers a critical advantage at night. But the mission doesn't end when the guns fall silent. The crew immediately returns to surveillance, scanning the terrain for new threats while checking fuel, weapons, and aircraft systems. Someone grabs another quick snack during the quiet moments, and everyone settles back into waiting. Minutes later, or hours later, the next radio call may arrive, and the entire cycle begins again. Living through this rhythm changes people. The brain learns to jump from complete calm to life or death decisions in seconds, then return to silence just as quickly. After years of repeating that cycle, many crew members say those instincts don't disappear when deployment ends. Returning home can be surprisingly difficult because the constant alertness, pressure, and responsibility often remain long after the aircraft has landed. The mission may end, but the mental weight can stay for years. Eventually, the aircraft heads home under the same darkness it departed in. After landing, the crew debriefs on every decision, prepares the aircraft, refuels, and begins getting ready for another mission. Fresh supplies are packed, equipment is checked again, and another night waits ahead. For these crews, every completed mission is simply preparation for the next call for help. There are no victory laps, only preparation, trust, and teamwork repeated night after night. Every mission depends on ordinary people performing extraordinary jobs under impossible pressure. Somewhere below, another unit will eventually need that familiar sound overhead, and when the call comes, the crew will be ready once again.